of the enemies. Plus, well, this week we've got a few extra twists to make things a little easier. Very fast experience. Also, short Sherlock, meaning that they won't have to traverse all the way through the final castle. And, well, it's chaos mode, and we'll get more into that in a little bit here, but we are about ready to get things started. And the king giving the instructions and our inaugural items in the throne room. We've got an herb, a torch, and the obligatory magic key.
Ooh, so that sometimes means that it could be a tricky start. They do have some strength to work with, though, so that's kind of nice. Otherwise, they don't have much in the way of items to help them out. Oftentimes in Chaos, the initial victory can be a bit hard to come by. Let's see what we have here. Look at this map.
Well, there's a town right by here, and it's the town of Rimeldar, so once our runners have some gold, they'll be able to purchase some keys. And taking a look here, oh my goodness, we've got some pricey things, although a very valuable flame sword, only 625 gold as opposed to its normal 9,800, and that is one of the little quirks to Chaos mode. Ooh, as Magidrakes have the spell of Hurt more here. In that in Chaos, also randomized are the weapon and armor prices, as well as the enemy statistics, so their strength, their agility, their hit points, just like that. Emptyeye getting up 2 levels to level 3. And as well as the experience and gold all going up.
I noticed, I think on level 1 they're starting with the hurt spell. Is that possible, or was it the monster that cast it? Do they have spells right now?
I believe hurt was acquired by Emptyeye on one of the level ups. Oh no, never mind, I stand corrected. AliGerBrap using the hurt spell, but it doesn't seem to be much against the Droll Magi.
So we talk a lot in Chaos about having to find the wet noodle who has very low hit points and low strength and things like that. But if you do happen to start with an attack spell, like even the hurt spell, there may be a few other enemies in the initial zone that you can get a victory against, because the initial zone will have the weaker monsters. Just only one of them happens to be the super weak wet noodle. But with the hurt spell, it could be a faster start than we are sometimes used to seeing in Chaos. So I see, Emptyeye already up to level 4, and
well, looks like the rogue scorpion has certainly proven fruitful. As now Emptyeye going into the treasury, and we have a magic key, as well as an herb. We've got the stones of sunlight, one of the essential items. And Erdrick's sword, the best weapon in the game.
All right, so good choice to use early money on keys instead of saving up for the flame sword, since that's going to quickly become obsolete. Erdrick's sword is superior, and now we're going to get to see what's in the basement in Tantegel Castle as well. No gold as of yet, by the way, in the treasury. Sometimes the back door here could lead to some gold if this happens to be the grave, for example. But unable to survive the Druid Lord there. So Bobski was able to acquire some kills too, up to level 4 as well. cdinprov on the board also, so relatively quick start in terms of Chaos anyways. And you know what's fun also about week 5 for Ron is the fact that it's a seeded race. So you can see the point totals next to their names. They're all very close in how they've done so far in the league. So it tends to group runners of equal skill level together so that we can have a good competitive race here in the final week. I think that's a nice feature.
That is correct. We have we have everything lined up in that regard, and that makes for some interesting pairings as our runners are all looking to get those last bit of points, as the top 16 runners in terms of point totals will make their way to the finals, or will they make their way to the playoffs, I should say, as, well, out of the 40 that started here, only 16 will advance, as Emptyeye now finding the Staff of Rain Cave just outside of Sharlock.
It looked like cdinprov was halfway around the outside of Rimildar and took a false step and exited by mistake, so another trek around to get however many keys can be afforded there. It seems to be the first step in making progress is to grab a couple of keys and get that Erdrick sword. So we have Sharlock not too far from home either, and I think that was the staff cave right next door. Unfortunately, they do not yet have the harp, so it's possible that the harp will be clear across the other side of the world, and the staff cave is just right close to home, so it works out that way occasionally on the random map.
And Tiger noting in
Tiger
noting in chat here that yeah, we're hoping that this seed lasts a little bit longer than the previous one. Yes, last one was certainly a jet seed, is now cdinprov accessing the treasury and is going to get all the great things, the replacement magic key, the herb, as well as the stones of sunlight and Erdrick's sword, the best weapon in the game.
Well, I'll tell you what, the two things that tend to make Chaos Seeds longer is the very first kill, and sometimes you have a really tough Dragon Lord fight at the end. But if neither of those two things are difficult, then actually Chaos Seeds kind of lend themselves to be fast, because right off the bat you're finding monsters that are worth triple-digit experience, and they may be very easy monsters to kill. So some progress can be made very quickly in the middle game of the Chaos Seed. If you're picking and choosing the right enemies, you have to remember which enemies are worth how much, because everything's new, of course, and just because the sprite looks mean, and it doesn't mean it's a difficult monster. So you have to remember what you're doing, but if you can pick and choose the right monsters, you can get some quick experience sometimes.
And Bobski easily dispatching of a green dragon with hurt, and that gets him up to level 6. Meanwhile, cdinprov making her way through the swamp cave, but a knight blocks her progress. Meanwhile, the guardian enemy in Hawksnest is a wyvern.
Yeah, and this is strange because there's no defense equipment for Emptyeye, and yet the wyvern so far is only physically attacking for single digits and just unleashes just the baby breath there. So that's kind of rare that would be a guardian. It's possible it has very high agility, something like that, but not really too fearsome there. Just a little bit low level. He was just kind of checking it out, but that monster might be beatable pretty soon, especially if it has some kind of weakness against Hurtmore, for example, if they pick that up in the next few levels. So that's a nice location to keep track of. Could easily be hiding the Erdrick's armor.
And I had to note there that there apparently was a low gain in levels, and Ali noting on their screen, Emptyeye loves it.
Absolutely. Notorious for the pain and suffering that can happen with some of these levels. We've had seeds earlier in this tournament where you just couldn't get any stats really up until you're in the 20s for levels, and it just went on and on. But other times it goes by just like that. It's the nature of randomizer. So that previous level up was a poor one, but you never know what the next one will be. And in chaos mode, you don't even know how many more experience points it'll take to get to the next level. And sometimes you skip a couple of levels with a single kill. So all sorts of shenanigans could be ensuing here.
Yes, as I failed to mention that in the beginning, that one of the changes with the chaos mode is that, yes, the amount of experience needed to get from one level to the next is randomized. So you could have 15 experience getting you 2 levels, and then you could have a couple hundred, maybe 900 to get to the next level after that. Ooh, and magicians are hitting pretty hard, as CD finding out.
And I guess that would be maybe a third reason for why Chaos Seeds can sometimes be long, is occasionally right in the middle of your progress, say let's say level 10, 11, or 12, not ready to fight the Dragon Lord yet, all of a sudden you have a level up that requires some crazy like 5 to 10,000 experience points to get to the next level, just because, you know, it's random like that. So that can actually slow things down considerably, but that doesn't happen very often. You just have to wait and see. And anytime somebody dies and talks to the king, that's kind of your best clue as to how far it is to the next level.
Which we've seen plenty of that early on here. That is for sure. Druid Lord creating some havoc for Emptyeye. Meanwhile, CD finding the Death Necklace in the Vanilla Stones of Sunlight Cave.
Well, nice thing to hold on to for later. Currently 45 hit points, so pretty far away from considering the Death Necklace, but also can be sold for some a pretty good amount of money.
Yeah, good for 1,200 gold.
It's always funny to see what monsters they end up just getting killed by, like the Scorpion. They're just a little bit too powerful. And meanwhile, the Stone Man over here on the AliGerBrap side, just doing 1 damage, no problem. It's like, actually, when you've played this game a lot, it's kind of messes with your mind when you see the sprite and you see the monster, and it's just absolutely not what you expect.
And meanwhile, we have the Fighter's Ring pickup on Bobski's side, as the Fighter's Ring was found behind the 2 doors in Rimeldar. And Ali and Emptyeye going to pick up their Death Necklaces.
High five. How you doing, hero?
Now, the Death Necklace has an interesting parameter that was added into Dragon Warrior Randomizer. Normally, the Death Necklace, when you put it on, it's a cursed item, and the king tells you to basically get out and don't come back. But here in Dragon Warrior Randomizer, there's a little bit of risk-reward associated with it, and then once you don the Death Necklace, it gives you an additional 10 attack power, but it comes at a cost of 25% of your maximum hit points.
So am I missing something here? We have Rimeldar right next to Tantegel, and the sword is in the treasury. And do we actually have 2 runners that still don't have the sword? Could that be possible?
I think that might be the case.
Yeah, that would be a bit of an error, in my opinion. I think the logical thing, as soon as you get some money, is to go get some keys. And the first thing you'd want to check is that treasury, so I don't know. We'll see what sort of damage they're doing to some of the monsters, although it's hard to tell because you don't know, how much it takes to kill, specific monsters in Chaos mode. But if they happen to open their stats window, we'll see if they have the sword. Oh, Bobski's going into the treasury now, so if he didn't have it then, he has it now.
And I think with the rather hectic start that occurred here in the beginning, with 4 different screens and 1 tracker, it's very possible that some things have been missed, as Ali now finding the Rainbow Drop Cave, also known as the Jerk Cave, and also heading on over into Garanham.
Yeah, now if he is unable to open the back door here, then we'll know that he never did get keys. And, therefore doesn't have the sword. But here's some other equipment he's looking at.
A very
Silver
inexpensive
shield is
silver
reasonable.
Shield. Yeah, 1749, much less expensive than the normal 14,800 gold that it costs.
There is keys available here for AliGerBrap, so yeah, it's possible he's already got the sword then. We'll see what's in the back here.
So, fairy water, a torch, and a magic key.
It's funny, cdinprov I feel like was in the same spot as before and ran into that same Scorpion, and some of these enemies, sometimes they have such high agility that you just can't run away from them either. So you don't even want to fight them, they're going to do damage to you. But then you can't really run away either. It's just the worst of all worlds, and the Scorpion seems to be one of those enemies, at least so far.
So, interestingly enough here, at level 10, Ali acquiring the spells at a... I guess there must be a huge bunch at level 11, as level 10 looking pretty vanilla.
Yeah, running through the mountain cave now is AliGerBrap, and actually it would be nice to pick up a couple of gold chests. I don't recall there actually being a traditional gold grind available, right? So if you grab a couple of gold chests here, all of a sudden you can afford that silver shield. But so far no good in the mountain cave. A lot of lesser items to be found. So Bobski finds a specter that's worth actually lots of gold. That sometimes might be useful to make note of a couple of enemies that drop a lot of gold too when there's no gold grind available. Specter worth 200 gold. Not so much on the experience though, unfortunately. It's always fun to see what a regular old blue slime will do. Right now he's got some fire breath and he is attacking for something other than 1 damage, so not the weakest of enemies in this seed. We're gonna see the final chest here for AliGerBrap.
Meanwhile, Bobski in Garen's grave. So 5 more treasure chests to be accessed there.
And another run at the Wyvern goes Emptyeye, since the Wyvern doesn't do a lot attack-wise. It's going to give it a go. See if he can yet damage it, maybe with the hurt spell. And was unable to catch what AliGerBrap got on the last chest there, but...
There was gold in them there mountains.
Ah, nice. So he actually does have enough to get out and get that silver shield. It was right here in this town of Garenham that he's in right now. But instead it looks like he's maybe taking a death warp, and there's no gold grind to be had, so I feel like outside would be the play here. But he does pick up a level.
Yeah, I was gonna say, these red slimes looking pretty easy to kill, and they're giving the maximum experience of 255.
And the Wyvern goes down, so we'll see what's in the search spot, and the 14 experience from the Wyvern was enough for another level. And it is...
It's the armor!
Woo! So not too much need for money right now as Emptyeye. The silver shield is less than 2,000, and no need to buy weapons or armor for the rest of the game. Only a shield, which some people might consider to be optional in some cases. So that's a great find. Heads up play to go back into Hawksness. Oftentimes runners will wait until they learn the heal more or the hurt more spell in order to take on, you know, what's supposed to be a boss monster, but that was one of the weaker boss enemies I've seen in Chaos mode. Maybe it just had some high hit points. I guess he was able to just hit it with several hurt spells, maybe? I missed the fight, but didn't seem to be a problem. Down it went. Erdrick's armor.
Meanwhile, Erdrick's token found in coal by Emptyeye.
Ooh. Oh, in coal, okay. So no actual reason to get and track down the coordinates then in this seed. The flute is usually a very optional item. You wouldn't normally go out of your way to get it on the overworld if you already have the token and the armor in your possession. So depending on the routing, if somebody manages to find and defeat the Guardian Hawksness and find coal before getting to Cantlin, then that whole side quest could be skipped in this seed.
And to answer the question in chat from Lavkian, if both the Staff of Rain Cave and the Rainbow Drop Cave have been found, they both have. The Staff of Rain Cave is actually not too far north of the castle and is actually just outside of Charlotte Castle.
Yeah, and I did see the Rainbow Drop on someone's screen. I don't think they've all found it yet, but somebody has discovered it. And I've been kind of watching all these battles. I haven't noticed any really large experience enemies yet. Have you?
Well, I mean, we have the max experience red slimes, which has vaulted Ali up to level 16 already.
Oh, they're giving 255.
They are giving 255 and 4 gold.
I completely missed that. So no wonder they have so much experience. And Bobski's in the bottom levels of the grave now.
So another cursed belt found. So there were 2 cursed belts in Garen's grave. So that does guarantee that anyone who wants to look for the coordinates in Cantlin, they will be finding the fairy flute in the overworld.
Yeah, so we'll have to watch closely and see who finds what and in what order, because some people may end up going on that wild goose chase looking for something else. And oftentimes that can be a considerable time loss, so often just kind of depends on the random routing of, do you go left or do you go right? And what you happen to find first is oftentimes what you go with. AliGerBrap is making a run for more keys around the outside. Did have at least 1 key earlier we saw going through into the back of Garenham, so just choosing this method to refresh here.
Well, Ali just purchased the flame sword, so I don't think that Ali has yet been into the treasury enchanted.
I wonder if a magic key was found in a chest somewhere and he just had the one and just used it in Garenham. Only had the 1 key, so never went back to the castle to check the treasury, but probably is going to do so now.
Emptyeye picking up a small shield, perhaps not recognizing to go back to Cantlin necessarily.
Oh, I missed. We do have a silver shield for Ali.
Ali's not going to find out the not so good news in a moment here. Well, the good news that it's Erdrick's sword, but the not so good news that you just spent 600 and some odd gold for nothing.
Yeah, and the other bad news that your opponents may have gotten it 20 minutes earlier than you did.
And now cdinprov is in the town of Cantlin.
And yet, I think AliGerBrap has the experience lead, if I'm seeing things right. So it just goes without the sword. Just, you know what, you guys can have the Erdrick sword. I don't need it. I'm just going to get the experience lead anyways. So it turned out that it didn't really matter too much that he missed out on this treasury early in the game. Takes care of business now. It's interesting. You don't often see that happen.
So Bobski utilizing the treasure chest glitch and is realizing that there's no gold to be found, but is going to max out on herbs and magic keys based on what is found at 73 north and 76 east for the coordinate.
Yeah, so now you're talking about potentially going through the trouble to rescue the princess, and it's just a big time sink if you end up doing this because you can't find something like the town of Cole. So cdinprov has that information now, and with AliGerBrap, with that experience that I was mentioning, is already up to level 16. So this level progression is quite a bit faster than a normal standard flags run would be, at least up to this level 16. So obviously all the spells acquired at 16. So it's off and running. This is 23 minutes in, and we're gonna try and hurry up and get all the stuff here and go fight the Dragon Lord. So,
and Lorgon noting in chat that Ali has been at level 16 for roughly the last 5 minutes, as it was that you had mentioned earlier about why Ali wasn't utilizing the outside spell after acquiring all of the chests inside the mountain cave. Right in that bottom level of the mountain cave, there were a litany of red slimes that were fairly easy to kill and were giving max experience. So that was just a very quick and efficient grind before utilizing all the resources.
Oh yeah, that play makes total sense. I had missed that enemy, but he probably saw it on the way through, so then he knew that he wanted to stick around there, and absolutely, that was a great play, because He does have a pretty formidable lead now. Level 16, I'm not totally sure if it would be go time or not. You know, assuming he had all the stuff, but he's still going to have to go take a pit stop in Hawksness and take down the Wyvern for the armor. And track down the town of Cole.
It's also being brought to my attention in chat that along with the red slimes for 255, there were also poltergeists down in that bottom end of the mountain cave that were giving 237 experience.
Yeah, that is a nice situation, especially when they're not deadly enemies. Seems like he just didn't really need to stay there for very long, though, because now it's a matter of finding what he needs. He probably feels like he already has the stats, or at least, you know, pretty good stats. We're showing, you know, he looks like he has over 150 hit points. So that's a good start. He is one of the runners that has found the Death Necklace, by the way.
Well, the Death Necklace is a very risky venture as far as whether you utilize it, given that hit points are at a premium, and you can have a Dragon Lord 1 that can attack for, gosh, we've seen 50, 60, 70 hit points. Even in one of the seeds that I saw during the Chaos Tournament last year, over 90 hit points that it attacked for, even at a high level. So giving away those hit points is very questionable in a lot of cases here. Now, I did see that cdinprov, she had found the tablet cave and found the gold that's in there. So all of the treasure chests outside of Sharlock have been figured out and found between our 4 runners here.
Yeah, and Bobski just went through the trouble of rescuing the princess, Swamp Cave being under Tantigo Castle, so he took care of that side trip, and all that is going to be for naught, as, you know, the fairy flute is not exactly what he's looking for. But just shows you how the different runners finding things in a different order can lead you on one of these side trips to nowhere.
And cdinprov now finding the town of Breckenary, or as I think most people would go, oh look, it's Breckenary.
Yeah, and she's got the 2 most important pieces of equipment for, you know, early or in the middle of the seed, which is the best shield and the best sword, because you know for sure you're going to eventually get Erdrick's armor. So if she doesn't really find a way to upgrade the armor, it's not the end of the world. So she doesn't necessarily need to worry about money anymore at this point. Just a matter of tracking down those search spots. I don't know where Cole was that Emptyeye went to, but he's still the only one with the token.
And a level that Emptyeye would be proud of at level 17, as Ali's gains were 0 strength, 0 agility, 3 hit points, and 2 magic points. So to quote Emptyeye, 0 strength, 0 agility. I love it.
Now, if Bobski was curious about how far it was for him to get to level 17, he can actually use the princess that he's acquired to gain that information, because it's not a set number of how much experience you need between levels. If he wanted to, he could use it. So he's using it right now with kind of a dual purpose. Going for those coordinates, and oh, by the way, here's how much experience you need. So nice feature, makes the princess slightly more valuable.
So already up to level 15 is Emptyeye, and getting slept by a poltergeist.
Yeah, and so we're showing the harp but not the staff for AliGerBrap, and is about to walk right by the cave. So is he gonna remember? Yes. Remembers that is indeed the staff cave, and it's time to go trade it in. Sometimes that's this thing that you can forget about, and it's way back here at start, and you could just be all the way across the world and be like, oh, why didn't I trade that in? You're at the Rainbow Drop cave. You're like, oh my goodness, I still have the harp. I didn't trade it in. So walked right by it. It jogged his memory. figured, well, might as well trade it in now. Got that out of the way. Upgrades to the staff. Just needs to find the town of Cole for the token.
Which is what Bobski has done.
Aha! So he is rainbow drop eligible if he wants to go track that down, or if he's already found it, he could go back in that direction. All of our runners except for Emptyeye still do need to take on that wyvern in Hawksness.
And Bobski picking up a half-plate armor while in Cole.
Although, and I'm not sure that I've seen it done yet, but there are some Chaos Seeds where I felt like it may have been possible by the time they went and fought the Dragon Lord, and just the way the level ups were and just the crazy stat gains, and the fact that it's short Charlock, it's possible that Erdrick's armor could be optional. But you'd have to have a special circumstance for that to happen.
Well, that would involve having insanely high hit points, which they do here. I will give you that.
You have to have like 2 or 3 times as much magic as you would need, so in case you need to double or triple heal. But, I saw at least 1 or 2 seeds so far this week where all those things were in fact true. Yeah, just one of those quirks.
Yes, now short Charlock, I alluded to it in the beginning. When you enter Charlock Castle, instead of having to traverse through all those different basements, you just go right on down to the 7th and final basement where the Dragon Lord is.
Right, and how that affects, whether or not you're wearing the armor is that on the top floor, normally there are a whole bunch of barrier tiles that you have to walk across, which Erdrick's armor negates the damage, but that doesn't exist in short Charlock mode. There are no barrier tiles in your way, so it's just a matter of whether you could, survive all the Dragon Lord attacks from the Dragon Lord, but I suspect the wyvern is easy enough to kill, and it's not too far out of the way. They're all going to go take care of that, as Bobski just did.
And Emptyeye picking up the silver harp and immediately returning out of Garen's grave. Not even bothering to check either the 2 adjacent chests next to it, realizing that they don't really have anything of value to him at this point. So, Emptyeye heading up toward the Staff of Rain cave to trade in the silver harp for the Staff of Rain, and then the combination of the Staff of Rain, the Stones of Sunlight, and Erdrick's token, all of that will be presented to the old man in the Rainbow Drop cave.
So this is curious. Bobski is continuing to use Gwayland's Love, and he already has the Erdrick's armor and the token in his possession. It's like he's looking around for something, but I'm not sure what exactly. And really, if he hasn't found the Rainbow Drop Cave, he needs to find that, but otherwise he's in grind and go mode. He doesn't need to worry about running around finding things anymore. But I just noticed him a couple of times using that Gwayland's Love, and maybe he was just getting a beat on when the next level's coming, but he's walking around as if he doesn't know where the Rainbow Drop Cave is. We saw a couple of other runners find it.
Well, that very well could be the issue, is just seeing, all right, how far do I have to go to the next level? Because there have been a couple of level ups in the time frame, as I'm looking here, that Bobski, already up to level 17. So it could just be a matter of, all right, well, how much do I have to the next level?
Just in case you wanted more than 170 hit points and whatever else they have right now. I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, the Dragon Lord can be quite beefy in Chaos mode. It is a much wider range. And if he does have the dreaded sleep with max stop spell resistance, sometimes it takes a tremendous amount of statistics to overcome a Dragon Lord like that. So it's sort of one of those situations where you never really stop fighting enemies. If you're still running around looking for things, you just continue to fight enemies, because more levels are always better in Chaos.
And yes, I should provide a little bit more detail on that, as the Dragon Lord, which in the vanilla version of the game has 130 hit points, and in standard Dragon Warrior Randomizer has a range of 150 to 165. Here in Chaos mode, the Dragon Lord's second form can have anywhere between 100 to 230 hit points, and it can cast either the spell of sleep or the
So AliGerBrap is back near start. We're showing that he has the rainbow drop and he's got the sword and the armor, so he's officially in grind and go mode, and possibly is just going to go straight into Sherlock right now. I don't know if there's any grinding left to do. I don't know, maybe we could take a look at the stats or see if they're ready to go here. But sometimes you don't even necessarily need as many stats as you would in a normal seed if the Dragon Lord is unusually weak. It's possible that it can be even weaker than standard flags Dragon Lord, as Ferran just alluded to there. So sometimes, in this case they're all kind of over leveled, but sometimes you could be under leveled and you might want to just kind of run in and take your chances and see if you can win the fight. You don't necessarily know what the Dragon Lord is like until you get there. But that was a very short Sherlock. It's 3/4 of the way done with it already. Closing in on the Dragon Lord.
So I was told that I was silenced in the midst of explaining the powers of the Dragon Lord.
I think that happened on my end as well. I wasn't sure if that was for everyone or not, so yeah, if you want to redo that.
Well, I will try, and if the Dragon Lord censors me again, then I know to just move right on here. But yes, in the normal vanilla version of the game, it has anywhere between 100, or it has 130 hit points. In the Dragon Warrior Randomizer version, the standard version, it has anywhere between 150 to 165. But here in Chaos, it has as few as 100 or as many as 230 hit points, and it can cast either the spell of sleep or the spell of heal.
Yeah, so there are situations where it could be super difficult to deal with, including Dragon Lord 1 could have some surprises. We're looking at, maybe not, but possibly a sub 40-minute seed here for AliGerBrap. What's the fastest seed so far this week, I wonder? Maybe someone out there has the information, but this is insanely fast.
Well, a little bit of debating on utilizing an herb, opting not to. I'm going to hang on to one here for Dragon Lord 1, and we have our first confrontation with the Dragon Lord as Bobski, going to purchase the Silver Shield, Emptyeye in, and let's see what the first Dragon Lord has. Spell of Hurt, some light attacks, and it's done.
And note AliGerBrap, I guess the little F is Strength Agility build, correct? So only 155 hit points for AliGerBrap, as opposed to his opponents. Slightly different statistics on the same level. But the Dragon Lord 2 fight is underway, and so far I don't see any special spells being unleashed.
I believe up to 25, 39 now, I believe. And noting an input error swinging on 41 and living. There's another 15, so we're looking at 54 now.
Sometimes you just gotta know when the Dragon Lord is gonna come up with a weak physical, you just swing at 41, no problem.
It's those instincts, as we're now up to 70 on Ali's side. And another 15 for 85.
Emptyeye is approaching the Dragon Lord as well. So we have a fast and furious race on our hands.
So we're at triple digits now. 101, and there's the first single digit roll. There's 110 now, so any swing could be the final one here for Ali taking out the Dragon Lord. 126 now.
Yeah, it has a very wide range of possible HP, so... Is this the one? Is this the one? Not dead yet.
We're at 137, but running low on resources. Only a couple more heal mores left. $151. Now down to one more heal more. 165.
Doing a modest 28 damage to Emptyeye, so Dragonlord 1 not too bad in this one.
177 and Dragonlord using heal.
Yeah, so that means he's somewhere in the top quarter of, so it could still be a long ways if it's, if he just dipped into the 25th percentile of his HP total. So this is bad news.
And another casting a heal, and this looks like this may be a little bit of futility here, and Ali falls.
Yeah, so more attack power would be nice to be able to punch through the heal spell for more than it's able to heal. Some expert out there could maybe provide how much the heal spell is actually doing for the Dragonlord for himself. I'm not sure how much he actually heals himself for with the heal spell, but it's more than AliGerBrap was able to deal damage with. Only 134 attack power there, just doing in the low double-digit range for damage, so unable to fight through the heal spell with those statistics. Might want to try a stop spell, or you might want to get another level to get some more attack power. Emptyeye is going to take his chances now.
And having put on the Death Necklace, so an additional 10 attack power, but a max of 126 hit points.
And that actually could make the difference in getting through the heal spell, but you got to get there a little bit quicker than, being down to your last heal more. So Emptyeye is getting low on resources also. The good news is that when you die with the Death Necklace on, they're still very close to Charlotte Castle when they get sent back home. And was there a town nearby as well to be able to recover?
Yeah, there was Rimeldar.
So, yeah, so being cursed in this situation, taking the death is no big deal. So there's the heal spell. How much additional hit points do you have to damage before he goes down here? And he's healing almost every turn here, it looks like. Probably a 50% heal.
Yeah, it looks to be that way as he's punching through. Gonna use the last heal more here. And he's gonna punch through. Does not use another heal. Last attack. And he does it!
Ooh, the Death Necklace made the difference there. It does enough damage in between the Dragonlord healing and takes him down. What a play, Emptyeye. Gonna get the top spot in this race tonight in under 45 minutes. That is a tremendous race for him.
Most certainly. Get out your GGs in chat. Emptyeye going to get a huge, crucial 5 points here with the first place finish, an official SRL time of 43 minutes and 25 seconds.
Now, I'll tell you what, there was some talk of the cutoff for the playoffs being around 13 to 14 points. So the 5 points for the victory here for him, that could jump him up into a playoff spot now. So as you said, that was a huge and crucial 5-point victory there. Nice job. AliGerBrap going in for more. Still on level 17. I didn't catch how far it is to 18. Ooh, got bounced by a wizard, was it?
Yeah, wizard with the Dragonlord breath, and another almost 3,000 to get to level 18. So either a good amount of grinding or 17 is going to be the level to do it.
Yeah, or he's going to have to think to use the Death Necklace, or you may want to try and spam a few stop spell attempts as well. That will work sometimes, depending on the stop spell resistance of this particular Dragonlord. So with short Charlock, you know, it's not as much of a problem to just go in there and experiment a little bit. Kind of looks like he's grinding for another level, though, doesn't it?
Well, the Stonemen not really going to do it, although the Rogue Scorpions with 177, those were the enemies that really got things kickstarted. While they weren't necessarily the Wet Noodle, as it's known, the enemy with just 5 hit points and 5 or less strength, that was an enemy that was taken out pretty quickly, and then once with a couple of levels they were able to be easily one-shot, so that got the levels going and got things moving in a pretty quick fashion, even without the spell of Hurt More.
Yeah, so it looks like not necessarily grinding with the intention of getting the level before fighting the Dragon Lord, but just kind of taking the easy fights along the way, just in case you, you know, you're unsuccessful again, then at least you're halfway to the next level or that kind of thing. So kind of hedging the bet, not necessarily running from everything, taking the high value triple-digit experience enemies along the way.
And CD, meanwhile, is honing in and discovers the fairy flute and is probably going to be less than thrilled with it.
Yeah, it just has to remember that Hawksness is the other search spot. It's going to have to go take on that Wyvern.
Hello?
I thought I heard somebody enter. Great race.
Thank you. What the heck was that seed? I mean, I definitely enjoyed it, but it was like, wow. That was,
Is that the fastest chaos run you've ever had?
I believe that's the fastest run I've ever had, period. And I don't even think it's particularly close.
Yeah, that was blazing fast. And the, you know, the things that could slow down a seed are, you know, having trouble getting off level 1. And all you guys, you did start with the hurt spell, so that was huge for you guys. So
yeah, that was definitely helpful. And then I think I found exactly one red dragon. It was the community relationship building fun police I killed to get off level 1, and then I don't actually think I saw another one for the rest of the seed. So, but it was enough.
yeah, gets you going.
Yeah,
You get a little gold, you go buy a key, and you're off and running with the sword too. So it was a nice quick start, and then, you know, it's just a matter of whether you could round everything up. We also didn't have one of those giant levels where you had to go get 1,000,000 experience points either. You guys were, you know, leveled up with just a few thousand under your belt. So yeah, that was just the jettiest seed that that I've seen. I don't know. So
Yeah.
Was there any particular challenge for you? Something you had to keep straight in your mind, or anything to do with routing or anything?
Near the end there, you may have noticed as I was looking again for the Jerk Cave, I stumbled upon Cantlin, and I was like, wait, I don't need this. What did I mess up? And then I looked at my little kind of stick map here, as I like to call it, and eventually figured out I went, I think, either too far north or not enough north before I started going east. That was really the main thing, and then just the only other thing was really, believe it or not, deciding if I wanted to put on my death necklace at the end, because, you know, you never know. With Dragon Lord 1, maybe he hits super hard, you know, might have sleep or something like that. But I just thought, you know what,
that's what Farron was saying. You give up the hit points, and you might get like 1 shot or 2 shot by DL1 or something like that. Yeah, that is a risk. Although I feel like it's what actually enabled you to win against DL2, because the heal spell started coming out. And without the death necklace, you may not have been able to keep up with the damage. As a matter of fact, AliGerBrap was fighting him actually a minute or so before you were, and was unable to out damage the heal spell. Just ended up eventually dying, you know, just a 1 or 2 attacks short of victory, because the heal kept coming out. So I think the death necklace ended up winning it for you. It was a good decision.
Yeah, it's eventually I just decided, you know what, I've got so much extra HP that, you know, above a certain point it's kind of wasted anyway, so I decided to just, you know, take the risk on DL1. Thankfully it paid off, so. But yeah.
You never bothered trying to throw down a stop spell or anything like that? I see people do that sometimes in Chaos, just first turn, just automatic, see if it lands.
Yeah, the way I tend to play it tends to be, you know, just treat the Dragon Lord, treat DL2 like a vanilla DL2, unless and until he gives me a reason to believe otherwise. And I saw the heal spell, but I was like, you know what, I'm hitting pretty hard. Clearly very tanky DL2, so I'm just gonna basically kind of just roll the dice and hope I can get lucky in that, you know, with good enough rolls, I'm probably slightly out-damaging him with the Death Necklace, so...
Yeah, what's scary too is that you know, you've already done 170 damage or something, and now he's casting heal, which means, you know, maybe he just barely dipped into the 25% of, you know, of his max, and his max is really like, you know, 220 or something.
Yeah, it definitely felt like it was on the upper end there.
Or like he just wasn't casting it, and you just have like one hit left. It's like, it's so hard to know, you know.
Yeah, you
if
never
he was
really
casting
know.
heal after 100 damage, it's a different story, because it's like, you know. But
right.
it's always interesting when the curveballs come up right at the end.
Yeah, I was definitely not exactly happy to see the heal there. I wasn't counting was the other thing, so I didn't know exactly how far I had to potentially go. Just because I feel like you know, it's chaos, kind of what's the point? So...
Oh, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, not any reason to count in terms of like, well, I better throw a hurt more down because I can't get to the number. You don't know what the number is, so...
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And, as I alluded to before, AliGerBrap has failed about 3 or 4 Sherlock dives now, and is still running around. So it's, yeah, using that Death Necklace was a pretty big deal, I think.
Yeah, I guess so.
And now the rest of the runners are catching up. It's going to be a good race for second. And I was trying to think, but you get 5 points for this victory, and that may have put you over the cutoff for the playoff round. It's going to be close, I think.
It's going to be close. I'm probably still going to need some form of help, I imagine, but given you know, given how my first 2 races started, you know, in playoffs or out of the playoffs, I'm very happy with where I ended up. Happy I kind of came on strong at the end, so...
Have you enjoyed the mixing up the flags every week and competing on new situations?
Yeah, definitely. I do like kind of the variety in that, especially as it is, you know, a 5-week, I guess, regular season, if you want to call it. So it's definitely nice to see 5 different distinct flag sets and, you know, 5 different sort of strategies, things to practice. I kind of wish I would have done a little bit more practice throughout the league, but frankly, I got addicted to the game Graveyard Keeper, and so I was like, I could practice Dragon Warrior Randomizer, or I could play 4 hours of Graveyard Keeper. Yeah, I'm gonna do that instead.
The problem many of us have, there's just only so much gaming time. It's like, gotta make decisions.
Yeah, you know, kind of while I'm here, I do want to thank, you know, everybody helping to run the league. It has been a lot of fun, regardless of whether I do get to go on to the playoffs or not. But yeah, like you said, I probably needed to win this to have a chance, and it still might not be enough, but, you know, happy I got the win, and happy I was able to finish pretty strongly, so.
Yeah, the other night when we were looking at the pairings and the spreadsheet of the point totals, I was just ballparking it. It looked like the cutoff would be around 13 points. But you know, that doesn't factor in how everybody's like grouped together,
right?
And like all that kind of thing. So it's like around there, 13, 14. You know, so I will just have to wait and see. But yeah, you did everything you could this week to get there, get the victory.
Yeah, yeah, like you said, I did everything I could do. So, and I'm happy it all worked out. Happy it's on the very likely last attack, you know, to get the victory there. So.
That was, in fact, the last attack, as you were out of resources otherwise. A couple of other notes. The red dragon that got you propelled to the start, while it was not the wet noodle, it was more of the al dente noodle.
Yes.
In that it it had...
Oh, man, we got new terms being coined over here.
I like
awesome.
it.
Well, it didn't have much to it. I mean, it wasn't as weak as the weak enemy, but I mean, it had 8 hit points and 10 attacks. So it wasn't. It turns out the official wet noodle was the green dragon.
Ah, okay. Makes sense.
But it only gave 29 experience.
Right. Yeah. I think the Red Dragon gave me close to 200 or something like that.
I think it was 199, and then the other favorable enemy that was being taken out early on was the Rogue Scorpion, as that only had 9 attack power, it had low agility, and it had 16 hit points, and that was giving a good 177 experience. So that the combination of those two, the Red Dragon and the Rogue Scorpion, led to the fast start for all of our runners here.
Yeah, it was a very fast start. The other thing that helped was, yes, we had hurt, but we also started with something like 37 strength, so I was at the start, I was like, I'm just going to try punching things and see what happens.
Oh yeah, that's huge in a chaos.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you're just damaging everything for 0 to 1.
Yeah.
All of a sudden with 37 strength, you actually might be damaging a few things, because my understanding is that you still have a zone 0 and a zone 1 and all that, just like you do in standard flags. It's just that the monsters are all randomized, but they do put the weakest monsters of the seed will be dropped into zone 0. So it just so have like what Ferrum mentioned with the other monster that had 8 and 10 for statistics. That's what that monster just happened to roll randomly, and and then that monster was put into zone 0 because it was the weakest. So yeah, if you can just run around with 37 strength and find an enemy like that, then all this searching around for the wet noodle doesn't mean as much. So yeah, that was nice for you guys.
Yeah, it definitely helped. And, sometimes even with a big strength start, sometimes the quote-unquote weak enemies, they just have a ton of agility. And even with 37 attack power to start, you're still just hitting everything for 0 to 1. So I was glad that wasn't the case here.
So did Ali just go back into Sharlock? I've kind of lost track, but he's yet again buying herbs in Garanham. I felt like he was just doing this a few minutes ago. And now cdinprov is caught up to him on experience and still perhaps searching for Hawksness. Is it possible she never saw the town of Hawksness? She seems to be still hunting around. Bobski also basically at the same experience level as well, and he is maybe still looking for the Rainbow Drop Cave, so...
Chad is confirming that Ali fell to a wizard before even getting to the Dragon Lord in attempt number 4 in Sharlock.
Yeah, the wizards were... Yeah, they were tough. Definitely just ran from the wizard.
And it looks like Ali is going to grind up to 18 and go back to the grind spot that got him a pretty significant experience lead midway through the race in the bottom floor of the mountain cave, as there were poltergeists that were giving 237 experience, as well as red slimes that were giving the max 255.
Yeah, finding a bunch of red slimes definitely helped me out, too. Definitely.
Yeah, because they're not particularly dangerous enemies either, so he could go down there right now and get all the experience he needs pretty quickly. So, it's good to keep a zone like that in the back of your mind if you do get in this spot where you need a few thousand experience, like Chaos sometimes does. So, I don't know if we know the exact number, but he needs to get to around 8,000 or 9,000 total experience here, and he's getting bombarded by enemies on the top floor, just trying to get to the bottom floor where all the good enemies are. And he's getting all the nuisance enemies, which are putting him to sleep, and he's unable to run from them, and it's just burning time up here.
Yeah. I did die early on to a Druid Lord because I think I confused it for something else I had killed earlier.
Oh, we have the Rainbow Drop Cave for Bobski. So he is in go mode now.
I think that was the other thing that helped me out, was that I got very lucky with kind of the order in which I found things, because I was like, oh, I have the armor from Hawksness, I have the token from Cole, I don't even need Cantlin at this point, really.
Oh, this is a super heads-up play by AliGerBrap that I've never seen done before, but he just went down the very first staircase that you come across.
Oh yeah, the actual.
And you walk around in this tiny room that goes nowhere, but that's his grind spot. So it's the entire floor is the same zone, whether or not you're in this little room or if you're in the main room. I love that play. I'm gonna use that in the future.
Yeah, that's a good
even
play.
In standard flags, that's great. I love it.
And just like that, already up 470 experience from 474 from 2 poltergeists.
And Bobski is indeed in go mode. He's a quarter of the way, and for some reason he's praying to the princess within Charlotte Castle now. And is getting away from the first wizard he encounters, but that is the enemy that is has been holding back Ali. So I guess if you get blocked by a wizard, you're in trouble. But he had just a huge walk, like all the way around the castle there.
That was a hero walk.
That's nice. So no need to burn up any MP here. One of the things, though, is that Charlotte enemies are very hard to run away from, so it's like almost like you just have to defeat them all. One thing I saw in High Spirits Seed recently is he tends to go with the sleep run strategy through the entire castle. Just he's okay with like spending 2 MP on every single battle, just to put everything to sleep so he can run away, because they're so hard to run away from sometimes. They have all the highest agility monsters usually end up in Charlotte.
I mean, honestly, I'll just fight through everything, because it being chaos, and since I didn't have the GPS, you know, you never know when that next level is going to come, so providing it's not something like the wizard in this seed, you know, you might as well just fight stuff and see what happens.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, because the other thing is you don't actually know what you really need to beat the Dragon Lord. Sometimes it could be a paper Dragon Lord, or other times like you might need a lot more levels because it's got the wombo combo, and you need to be super overpowered. So it's like you really should never stop fighting things in Chaos mode the way you do in Standard Flags, where you know for sure that you're ready. And every encounter is just lost time at that point. So in Chaos, you're never quite sure. You don't have the information.
And Bobski getting back attacked, but hitting for 17 to start off with.
And he does not even have the Death Necklace, or if he does, he did not use it, it looks like, because he's got a ton of hit points.
Yeah, I think
so
it was just a max roll to start.
Yeah, so he's doing in the low double-digit range mostly now. So when he starts seeing that heal spell, how's this going to work out for him? Will he try the stop spell? I don't think we've seen anybody try that yet.
It looks like it is a... oh, goodness. Level 18 is apparently an Emptyeye level 2, 3, 2, and 1 for level 18.
Some people love that.
That is actually a pretty terrible level.
Well, there were no zeros, so it doesn't count for the famous quote.
Right. There was one level that for me had 0 power, 0 agility. And yes, I loved it.
Okay, good. So I did it justice. If you go back and hear the VOD later, that's pretty much how I went and imitated it, as imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
And AliGerBrap, back in for more punishment, promptly runs into a wizard who does ambush him and blocks him. So having issues, getting breathed on now. It's sometimes you just don't have the luck when it comes to randomizer, I'll tell you. There are plenty of standard flags Charlock runs that are like this, where one runner just goes through the whole castle no problem, everybody else is dying left and right. But yeah, he keeps getting that wizard, and meanwhile Bobski is getting low on resources. Can he make it?
He throws out the stop spell, but too little, too late.
Oh, did it land?
It did land, but...
and he got hit for 44 when he had 43 hit points, so if he managed to survive that one, who knows, maybe the next strike would have done it. Oh my gosh, that's how close it was for Bobski. Amazing.
Now CD is inside of Charlock as well, so this is going to be her first venture into the mix.
Did we get a count, by the way, on how much the Dragon Lord was damaged for when Emptyeye actually defeated the Dragon Lord? It was Well, it's hard to actually get a count when he keeps healing.
Yeah, when the heal gets thrown, it's hard to count, but I can tell you that the maximum HP for Dragon Lord 2 was 225, just 5 off of the max.
Spoilers! Wow, I didn't think it was that high. I did not think Emptyeye did that much damage, really. Like, wow.
It felt like a lot.
Well, you were like, I think in the 170s when he first started healing, at least according to our count, so I don't know how many turns went by after that, but wow, 225 for a Dragon Lord 2 is kind of brutal, because oftentimes you'll try and ballpark it based on, you know, standard flags total and, you know, how many attacks you think you're going to get and all that. So when he happens to have a huge HP total like that, you just run out of MP. You just got to go get more levels. But
I don't think it was
so
that
far.
spoilery.
That Death Necklace was a big factor for you. That was a great move.
Like I said, it just eventually got to the point where I was like, I have so much extra HP that, and you know, you don't know how much the Dragon Lord has, but I was like, well, if I fail, Rimildar is right there, so I can heal right back up. Getting there shouldn't be a problem.
Oh, this is super close right now between cdinprov and AliGerBrap. They're both a few steps away. cdinprov the first to begin speaking to the Dragon Lord, seconds apart here. No Death Necklace. Going for it straight up. It's kind of cool to see these stats on the Sharlock enemies. Although I don't know if that's a Sharlock enemy with 4 hit points, is it? The Magician?
It could just hit like a tank, and here we go. We've got
also
9.
has the 75% DL2 fire.
Yeah, it's always fun.
So, how fast is cdinprov going to menu through this fight? I see some stop spelling happening unsuccessfully, so does not have minimum stop spell resistance. Has some level of stop spell resistance. And AliGerBrap on DL1, could he actually catch up to cdinprov through menuing speed here? Bobski's in Sharlock too. Here we go.
Plus, being up at level 18, even though it was a very minimal gain, just that slight shift in attack range could account. It could be the difference between one attack. But we'll see how.
So AliGerBrap is going to go with the stop spell on the first turn
hits.
and lands it.
Oh, and nailed it.
So with the advanced knowledge, having already fought the Dragon Lord before, seeing the heal spell come out, decides that's the new strategy. Let's try stop spelling right in the beginning. If you can just get to the point where it starts casting it, this should be a nice easy victory now for AliGerBrap, whereas cdinprov doesn't have that information, and I don't know if she's managed to actually land the stop spell. She attempted it at least once. Didn't catch if it ever landed for her.
It did not. And I think she hesitated to cast another one because she knew she would have lost a heal more.
Now we're getting into range now. She's done a whole lot of damage. Is the Dragon Lord going to start casting heal? It can only be a 25% or a 50% heal, right? So in theory, several turns could go by where it just chooses not to cast it. So we're getting real low on resources now.
Just 2 more heal mores, now 1 for CD.
This is a really close finish. AliGerBrap's catching up through menuing.
Last heal more for CD. Only 2 more for Ali.
There's the heal. Well, all she can do is keep attacking. She's got no MP. So just keep on attacking, and not enough. Oh, wait, but there's a heal. You need an excellent move, and it's not coming.
No.
No.
Oh,
but Ali falls also.
So cdinprov gets the knowledge that there is an awful lot of HP on the Dragon Lord and the heal spell. So now she's going to go back to the drawing board and figure out what to do next. So still, no one else has used the Death Necklace, which gives significantly more damage for every single attack that you're doing. And we saw that was a successful strategy for one runner. Everyone else is taking multiple deaths.
Yeah, so to answer the question in the chat, Jay Cooper, I used the Death Necklace, and I got a lot lucky. I'm not gonna lie. Just from start to finish.
So I don't think we've actually looked up... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, there was a question in chat if we know the stop spell resistance on Dragon Lord 2. That is something that the behind-the-scenes folks are aware of. We have not made it public yet. I don't know... Yeah, I don't know where the, I guess the statute is of when we can let that proverbial piece of information out.
I haven't looked yet, so... All I know is that some people have landed it and some people have failed landing it, so... It's somewhere between 0 and... I don't know. It's not 0, that's for sure. Somebody landed it.
Or it has missed. So yes, it is more than 0, but it is not as bad as 15. It's actually just slightly better than a coin flip at a 7 out of 16.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Oh, and what is not reasonable is cdinprov falling to a wizard in Charlotte.
So was she looking in the treasury for something? I was just looking at where she was. What would be in the treasury that she would be looking for now? Fighter's ring, says Smashy. Okay, nobody found the fighter's ring? Shows you how fast and furious the seed was. I could barely keep up with what they were actually doing.
No, the fighter's
what
ring,
they were still looking for.
The fighter's ring was in Rimeldar in the double doors.
Is it possible she never went through the double doors because in the beginning they didn't have much gold to work with? Just gonna take another stab at the treasury here, so... there is an item in your possession that gives you 10 more attack power. It's hard to think of that, though, because you would think that the stats that you have are enough. We're showing straight green across the board for cdinprov. Generally, that's enough to defeat a Dragon Lord. Unless they have an absurd amount of hit points, so...
And the spell of heal.
Right. So, even more than maximum hit points. So, we got gold. Was that a torch, and then that was what she was looking for, so she turned around? I'm not sure I know what's happening there, but we have dual Dragon Lord fights happening again. Bobski is almost out of resources again. Has he managed to land a stop spell? Did he attempt one this time?
There's so much going on, it's hard to...
Well, he's only got a couple attacks left. Oh, but that spell hath been blocked! There we go with Bobski on his last heal more. The spell hath been blocked. 1 or 2 more hits, perhaps. There's another blocked spell. Oh, the door is open. Boom!
And he does it! So Bobski is going to take second here.
Blocking the spell for the victory. Multiple ways to win.
So now the promenade up Tangential Castle, and Bobski is going to take second place here. Chat, get out your GGs, as it took a little bit to get second place, but Bobski is going to get a 3-point addition here with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 11 seconds.
Yeah, only a half an hour between first and second, which we do see that in Chaos Seeds for various reasons, actually. So, just the way it shakes out sometimes. But a nice hard fought second place for Bobski. Very persistent and resilient. And poor AliGerBrap, first to the Dragon Lord, still has not finished, and went through the trouble to grind to 18, got very little for his trouble. I haven't seen how much for 19, but tough luck for him. That's another one of those chaos decisions too. When he goes ahead and makes that decision to grind to 18, sometimes when you get it, you get 18, 19, and 20, and all in one shot. So yeah, and then you're just super overpowered because you don't know what you need beyond the next level. For the additional levels, could be very short in between. So sometimes grinding pays off. It just kind of backfired for Ali here, and he's just trailing cdinprov by a few yards here going into the final concourse en route to the Dragon Lord once again.
You have to say, with the number of near falls or near deaths and everything that have been going on with the Dragon Lords, this has to be one of the closest 31-minute differentials that I think we've ever seen in Dragon Warrior Randomizer.
It's true, a 31-minute differential, and really, 2 or 3 different runners could have won pretty easily. So it's really interesting how it plays out. Standard flags tends to be much more clear-cut. Once in a while, you have a super crazy Sherlock situation that nobody can get to the Dragon Lord, but here we have cdinprov. Is this her second attempt at this fight? And now she's going to try the stop spell, and it looked like
and
it
she
worked.
Hits it on the first one.
All right. So a favorite now. It still took Bobski all the way down to his final resources, even with the landed stop spell. So it's not a sure thing, I guess, but she's got to be a favorite now.
Well, that being said, we have Bobski joining us here in the Discord. Bobski, GG.
Thank you.
You said that not very enthusiastically, as if there were some struggles.
I think this seed for me was just the epitome of how the league has gone for me. I had a really good start. I played really decent, and I think I walked into the free stuff cave in the first 10 minutes and saw that it was gold and instantly walked back out, and it must have gone to check prices again and never came back there. So I feel like I did that. If I didn't do it, I just never found that spot. And that was the ball game. There was zero chance that I could have won.
Well, it seemed a little closer than that from our perspective, but yeah, understandable when things just don't work out the way you want, especially when it comes to routing things like that. That is often the nature of randomizer, but yeah, it sounds like the league in general, you wish some of the races could have gone better, but did you like how the format was? You got a chance to try out new flag sets every week?
Yeah, I thought it was a good experience to play different flag sets. It was nice to throw back to the vanilla map on week 4. I could have wished for better groups in terms of not rolling Game Boy in the first week or Mr. Holmes in one of the weeks, but at the same time, I think a lot of them were winnable. And a lot of them are a lot of fun to play. The short Sherlocks really take away a lot of the pain, except for apparently when you can't run away, like today. So
yeah, everyone was struggling with that.
Yeah,
yep.
I couldn't believe that I failed to run like 13 times or whatever the stupid Wraith was. But anyways, CD finished up, and so I will get out of your way and thank you for volunteering, everyone, and a huge GG to all the runners today.
All right, thanks for a great race, and hopefully you'll continue to run in the weekly races and all that leading up to. I'm sure there's going to be a summer standard flags tournament. So
yeah, I'll be about. It'll take a little bit different precedence. I won't have to practice a new flag set every week, but it'll be on my to-do list still.
So the official SRL time for cdinprov finishing in third, 1:19:41, just 5.5 minutes past Bobski.
All right. Before she comes in, I'm going to, I guess, head off here. But thank you for the interview. And yeah, thank you to everybody who's been tracking, commentating, restreaming, and not just this race, but all the races. This wouldn't have happened without the help of a lot of people. And, hopefully I get to move on to the top 16. But if not, I've definitely had a lot of fun. And especially if we keep this format, I will definitely be participating in future DWR leagues. So
it's good to hear. The more participation, the better. I think it's been a good community.
There. Just
all right. Good night, everybody.
Just
good night.
Good night, Emptyeye.
We have another Dragon Lord encounter from AliGerBrap. Herbing up and getting ready. Looks to be down a heal more.
There are only 11 going in.
And if he chose to use the stop spell, he would be down another heal more. So, decision time. How is he going to approach this fight?
Well, this just goes to show the nature of chaos in that the first runner to face off against the Dragon Lord is now the last to defeat the Dragon Lord. But we'll get more into that.
That's right. He was the first to attempt this fight. That's amazing. I don't know if I've ever seen that in any other 4-way race, honestly. Non-chaos.
That is the nature that is chaos, and one person who I'm sure has a few, not necessarily kind words regarding it would be our third place finisher, cdinprov. Congratulations and GG.
GG, guys. So have I mentioned I get lost in parking lots and paper bags?
Oh no. Had a bit of trouble with the map, trying to find your way around?
I must have walked directly past Hoxus without actually getting it on my screen a couple of times there, because that was the last thing I needed to find, or I would have been done a lot sooner. And then I got flustered and missed menu and all that good stuff that I'm really, really good at. But all in all,
that is one of the most frustrating things that can happen in randomizer, whether it's standard flags or not, is just that you feel like you've covered the map and there's just one more thing out there and you just can't find it no matter what. You just look everywhere. That is so infuriating. So I know how you feel there.
yeah, it was a little frustrating, but all in all, it was a pretty nice seed. I mean, early, really a lot of power. A lot of early levels. That was a very, very pleasant seed, I have to say. I mean,
nice.
other than dying to the Dragon Lord the first time, what was his resistance, by the way? Should I have just kept spamming stop spell?
So it turned out it was what was it for on?
Well, it was 7 out of 16, so just slightly better than a coin flip.
Alright, so I should have tried it probably more than once. The first time when I tried to put him to sleep, I was aiming for stop spell, but yeah, it's been a long day.
Well, hey, if you manage to put him to sleep, that works out really well.
Yeah, that would have been cool. I was like, well, at least it was something that, could have applied to the Dragon Lord and not just, goofing it up. But I mean, it's been a lot of fun. I have to say, I really enjoyed League. I got to meet a lot of great people, including you guys. And I'm kind of looking forward to just relaxing and watching what happens now.
Yeah, it's really been great that you've been able to pick up some of the restreaming duty for this league as well. That's oftentimes one of the most difficult resources to come by, so we all appreciate your efforts on that.
It's no problem. Plus, then I get to, laugh behind a muted microphone as Ferran starts making jokes about what? The Ritz Cantlin, or you guys go on about hockey for 45 minutes. I think that's what it was, one of those times. So, it's been great, and I've got to meet a lot of the runners. Yes, yeah, that was a trip. But no, it's been a really good experience. I've got to make a lot of friends, and all that happy stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna hop out. You said Ali just finished?
Yes, Ali has
Okay.
finally taken care of the Dragon Lord, finishing in 4th with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 24 minutes, and 51 seconds.
GG, Ali. But anyway, I'm gonna let you guys go so Ali can hop in here and probably go play. I was playing the Penguin game earlier, so thank you, High Spirits. I don't know if you're there, for showing me the cute, adorable Penguin game, because I'm terrible at it, but it is just the cutest thing ever, and it's a lot of fun. So I will. I'll catch you guys later, and have a great night.
All right, good night, GG. And AliGerBrap, how you doing?
Oh, sorry.
Push to talk or mute or something?
No, I was just trying to, because I wanted to mute the sound just to hear you.
So, how about that Sharlock today for you? What happened there?
Yeah, I don't know, because I think, I don't know if I was the first one to Charlotte on Dragon Lord 1 on DL2, but, I figured that I was there, probably, 3 minutes before Emptyeye finished, so I just went and, see, oh, he's got heal. And I was running out of heal potion, not heal, but I was running out of magic, so I couldn't really do anything about it. So I figured, maybe I need to run another level. I went to 18. I don't think it was the solution. I think I should have stuck to 17. I don't know how many times I tried, and I did one miss menu because I had one moment of inattention, but it was something that was hard. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was
to
experiencing
answer
more
your
than that.
question, you were the first one to fight the Dragon Lord, and so on that first attempt, if you could have defeated it there, you would have finished slightly ahead of Emptyeye. He was just approaching the Dragon Lord when you took your death there. So yeah, very, very high HP total as it turned out, and then when he started healing, you just kind of ran out of turns there on your first, like you said. So yeah, we saw a few different things that people did. Emptyeye actually used the death necklace, so he was hitting for a little bit more damage and was able to do more damage than the heal was healing. So he was kind of finally able to punch through it. Whereas I think your attack power, once he started healing, it was like you just couldn't really do any more damage. So that was one thing. He also had a little bit of susceptibility to stop spell. So we saw a couple of runners land the stop spell.
Yeah, I think I learned it I had ended 4 out of 5 times, something like that.
Yeah, it looked like a frustrating finish for you, but the rest of the seed I thought was great. We noticed that you found a nice little grind spot the first time around in the bottom of Mountain Cave, and that put you way ahead in experience for a little while. 2 really good enemies down there.
That's where I figured just having the red slimes and poltergeist, it was really helpful to find those two.
Yeah, and it seemed like your start was fast too. I think you may have been the first to get in there and acquire keys and pick up Erdrick's sword as well. So yeah, the race was going just fantastic until you got to Sharlock, and then a couple of times I think the wizard was causing problems too. So yeah, frustrating to watch for sure. I'm sure it was on your end as well.
Oh, you know what? I had fun playing this tournament. Honestly, it's good to learn from this. Honestly, I know my Charlotte end game is not really good, and in Chaos, I probably didn't have that much problems when I did practice in it. So probably I just needed to like work more on this. But like if I do a chaos seed, I probably will work more on the end game.
Yeah, so you've enjoyed mixing up the flags every week and checking out different situations.
Oh, definitely, it was fun, honestly, because I've started like playing the Dragon Warrior randomizer maybe like 3 months ago, and like it was just good to learn more by just playing different things just to learn.
Cool. So if this ends up being the end of your league run, it sounds like you're still ready to run some weekly races and get back into standard flags and maybe even do some tracking for some races and things like that, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing I'm still going to stick around. It's gonna be fun. I had a blast, honestly. It was fun. I think just learning more about this game, and it's simple, but still, it's like the end game is like always something more complicated. And then like I know that's probably my biggest weakness, and I know.
Yeah, you know what I'm still addicted with, honestly, is that it feels like you can play and complete an entire RPG in one sitting in like, an hour or an hour and a half. Like a lot of times I want to like sit down and dive into an RPG. I want to have the whole experience like in that sitting and you don't have 30 hours to play. It's like a perfect like you can play the whole game in a short amount of time, which is great. So what else is going on for we got more races tonight, or I'm sure later in the week there must be some.
Well, looking at the schedules here, this is going to be it for tonight. We have one more race that is scheduled, and then three more that still have to be scheduled over the course of the rest of the week. It is going to be Group 6 tomorrow, which will certainly piece a few things together, as there are a lot of runners that are right on that cusp. And the victory in that one will be very close. They may not necessarily clinch. They may have to win with some help, but that is going to be one to certainly keep an eye on. That'll be Jay Coper, Zarnax 42, Centroid 41, and the Seawolf 1. And that is just a little over 24 hours from now at 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night.
So quick question before you wrap up. Do you know, you would know better than me, I think. If there's like a tie for the last spot, is there going to be a play-in race or anything like that? Or are they going to go to tiebreakers?
Well, the determinations are, as far as how everything's set. It's going to be a Buckles score is going to be the next tiebreaker.
Okay. So they're going to tie break and determine the final 16. Cool. All right. So the
Yeah,
tension will
Game
be
Boy
high over
F9
these next few
confirming
races.
that yeah, one of our admins here, Game Boy F9, confirming that in chat. And I do see here that is the format. So yeah, the tiebreakers are broken by the Buckle system, and for some reason there's still a tie with that. Then adding point totals for each round. So it doesn't look as though there's going to be any type of a play-in if there's a tie for the last spot, as everything looks to be pretty well spread out as far as everything going along the way here. So we have the
Nice. So
top
no delays. We're going to go straight into week 6 with even newer and different flag sets, I believe.
Well, a little something old and a little something new as we go along here. As once the playoffs hit, the first round is going to be, well, just standard chaos. So no short Sherlock, just your traditional tournament fast seeds, and yeah, so that'll be what people were used to from the chaos tournament about 1 year ago here in the Dragon Warrior randomizer community. And I know we've for better or worse, called more than a few of those, and they've certainly been very interesting. So we'll see how they go as the weeks go on, and there will be more involvement. But for now, we are narrowing the field down. There are three that have officially clinched. The top three seeds are going to be High Spirits, Scorpion Max, and Game Boy F9. And the other 13 seeds are still yet to be determined based on the four remaining races. So, certainly, still a lot at stake over the course of the next couple of days.
Sounds like fun. We're going to have to check those races out. Randomania Networks.
Yes, the race for tomorrow night, the network has yet to be determined, but that will be 10 p.m. Eastern among one of the Randomania networks, and then the other three remaining races, groups 2, 3, and 4, all of which have huge playoff implications. Those will be announced as they are scheduled over the course of the week. Make sure to check out the Dragon Warrior Randomizer Discord for all the various updates, as they'll let you know everything going on. You'll be able to interact and even get a few practice races in yourself, as well as being able to download the randomizer to give this whole crazy thing a try with all the different seeds that are available. You can check that out in the Twitch chat here on Randomania 3. And make sure to give all 4 of our runners a follow, as they did a fantastic job this evening. cdinprov, Emptyeye, as well as Bobski and AliGerBrap. And make sure to show some love to the folks behind the scenes as well. The restreamer tonight, Lord of the Synth, also tracking was CyberDark86. And how'd they not get you on there? All right. Make sure to give Up to NG a follow as well. Up the number 2 NG, as well as myself, Ferran Burgundy. We've brought the action to you here tonight on Randomania 3. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And until next time, may your moves be excellent and your seeds stay classy. Good night, everyone.